Welcome, friends. Thank you for joining us. It is April in Oklahoma, so of course that means severe weather. Your Campus Weather Authority has been tracking the severe weather for the last couple of hours. As you look off behind me, you can see a severe thunderstorm warning making its way to Chickasha. We've been watching this storm for the better part of 2 or 3 hours. It has had a history of tornado warnings. Thankfully, those are off as of right now. It honestly looks like the storm might be weakening a little bit further off towards the west, but you can still see some pinks in there. Could be some large hail developing off to our west. We continue to track these storms as they make their way to Norman. I believe they're moving at about 45 miles per hour as of now. So that probably puts it in Norman in about the next hour or so. As I mentioned, we've been watching these. A lot of hail with this way out west in southwestern Oklahoma. We did see hail size up to baseball size. Thankfully here, it's going to be a little bit on the smaller side if we get any at all. But another big risk of something we've been watching over the last couple of days and into the next few days ahead of us is a lot of rainfall. We got a lot of rain last weekend. These storms have the ability to produce a lot of rain. You can actually see the flash flood warnings off to our west already. Some of these areas saw upwards of 5 inches of rain over the last couple of days, and Tuesday and Wednesday could add to that total with another 4 to 5 inches possible. Now, as of right now, campus still is under a tornado watch till 11. We will see if they extend that out later. It's still kind of hard to tell how favorable this environment is for severe weather. As I mentioned, we have seen a weakening trend, but we could see another severe warning come out of this storm over the next little while. Now, as I mentioned, tornado watch for another 30 minutes or so. Nothing really too impressive as of right now. If we could flip over to our hail detector, we'll take a look to see how likely it is. You can see as we zoom in just over here, could be a little bit of hail possible with this. Not likely as of now. As I mentioned, we saw a lot earlier, but still something to be mindful of. I know if you're on campus and you haven't put your car in a parking garage, you don't need to do it as of right now. But if this uptakes in the next 15 to 20 minutes, there we go. Severe thunderstorm warning is out. Do any of you guys have information on what that severe warning comes with?
Winds 60 miles per hour and about 1 inch hail. So what you were seeing is definitely true. There is some possible hail there impacting people, but nothing too crazy at the moment. But there's always a chance for that to change.
Thank you, Alexa. Do we have any confirmed reports of the hail, or is this just radar indicated?
Just radar indicated at the moment.
Meaning, looking at our radar system, we are detecting that hail higher up into the clouds. It's not necessarily falling to the ground, but it is there. So something to keep in mind. Over the next 30 minutes or so, as I said, this continues to track toward Norman. If we could pull up the timing track as this heads into Norman, I would appreciate it. Still think those moving about 30 to 45 miles per hour. Probably puts it in Norman about next 30 minutes or so. Just get it up here. So yeah, Blanchard by about 11, still about 15, 20 miles to our west. So put it here a little bit after 11:15 to 11:30. Now, as I mentioned, these storms have been kind of erratic today. At times, forward moving speed was 20 miles per hour. At other times, it was upwards of 55, 60 miles per hour. So it's still kind of up in the air as of right now as to exactly what will happen. If this pattern continues, be a bit more of a slower mover, excuse me. So again, just another thing we'll have to keep our eye on as of now. Now, if we zoom out a little bit more, taking a look across the state, we've seen a lot of convection take place, but as of now, it's been a little bit on the weaker side. A lot of this stuff off to behind me is just scud, just radar picking up on some little things. You can still see this is the dominant storm of the day. See up toward Weatherford a little bit earlier, about an hour, 30 minutes ago. Probably a pretty good storm up there. Probably saw some hail with that as well. As of now, I don't have anything confirmed on that. Again, you can see it's weakening. It's pretty much completely dissipated as of right now. If we could flip over to the show real quick, we'll take a look at some of our threats as we head in toward tonight. We'll take a look at the storm timeline real quick. Again, this stuff started out west a couple of hours ago, and we've been tracking it through the night. Our threat's going to last till about midnight, probably 1 a.m. Further off to the east, that'll happen throughout the early morning. And then we'll see another round of storms early tomorrow morning. As I mentioned, I would like to look at the threat bars real quick if we could get them pulled up. Perfect. So tornado threat medium right now, that is continuing to decrease as the atmosphere seems to stabilize back up overnight. Wind and hail definitely still at the high risk as of right now. Hail is probably our biggest threat immediately, but outside of that, definitely going to be this flooding risk. Extreme levels as of right now. Flash flooding outlook through Tuesday, moderate for almost this entire portion of central Oklahoma. If we look at the National Weather Service graphic, which we don't have up right now, there is a hatched box directly over central Oklahoma, giving us a chance of 4 to 5+ inches of rain over the next couple of days. If we can flip back over to radar, continue to track these storms as they head into central Oklahoma and affect us here at the Norman campus. If we could go ahead and freeze this and then zoom in on this storm. Appreciate it. Yeah, so actually go ahead and drag us a little bit further west and then put this back in replay for me, please. Yeah, so that hail core still there, but definitely starting to weaken as it continues moving here into central Oklahoma. Still a lot of rain behind it. I believe, what is this severe warning further to the west for? If we could pull that up real quick. I'm assuming 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch hail.
Yeah, so the severe warning further to the west, we're looking at, 1.5-inch hail, 70-mile-an-hour winds. We're looking at a bit of mid-level rotation with that, nothing down on the ground. That's why they're keeping it as a severe warning. According to the NWS, they think it's going to stay as mostly a hail threat rather than a tornado threat as of now, but so that's what we're watching out with that one.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Brendan. If we could flip over to velocity real quick, we'll just take a look at it, see if anything is going on. Green's heading toward the radar site. The radar site's back behind me a little bit further toward the north. Not a whole lot of rotation, maybe, as Brendan said, a little bit on the backside of that cell. Nothing too concerning as of right now. Now, your lighter greens are your stronger winds, as we mentioned. Wind threat is still a possibility. Just south of Chickasha, could see it there. And then way further south, just north of I-44, some of these brighter greens. Actually, both of those could be rotation. Could we put this in time lapse for the last 30 minutes or so? Okay, so it's actually downtrended. There you could see the tornado warning for a second further back where the blues and the greens were coming together. That is where that tornado warning would have come from. Still definitely some rotation in there a little bit. Nothing too impressive as of now, but again, continuing to track these storms throughout the day. As I mentioned earlier, not even just the last 30 minutes, but throughout the last 3 or 4 hours, these storms have been tornado-borne for a good portion of their life. That's definitely not a tornado, but there is some good rotation still on the southwestern edge of that storm. Go ahead and flip me back to reflectivity, please. Thank you. Looks like we got some hail developing further out in the north. Could you put this in replay for me real quick again? Okay, it looks like it might be trying to split, meaning a storm split. The storm will literally break into 2 pieces. What we call the left mover storm, which would be further out toward the west, poses more of a hail risk, while typically the right moving cell will be more of a tornado threat. However, with the atmosphere the way it is right now, that tornado threat is probably going to be a bit lower. Go ahead and flip over to hail swath for me real quick these darker colors way back west is more likely for hail, closer to the possible or likely side, but this thing has trended since Lawton, north of Lawton, as it's headed east. Definitely produced probably some hail, not a ton, but definitely some on that. If we flip back to reflectivity for me, please. So it's definitely some stronger rains. If we could actually zoom in on Chickasha, I would appreciate that. So something to keep an eye on, not super pressing as of right now, but on the southern edge of this storm, you could see some rotation start to develop. Again, this isn't super indicative of anything, but something to keep an eye on. Again, as I've mentioned several times over the next 20 to 30 minutes, it's hard to tell exactly how the environment is right now because we can't measure it currently in all these spaces, but definitely could be a little bit of rotation starting to develop on that southern edge. If we could flip over to velocity real quick. Okay, so as I mentioned, not really anything. Maybe this probably is more just a poor scan versus this actually being rotation, but something to keep an eye on. Again, as most of these storms, and of course it being April in Oklahoma, something to keep our eye on. If we flip back to reflectivity for me, please. So again, hail threat basically along the I-44 corridor and Highway 81 for a pretty good section of this storm. Again, some stronger rain way further off toward the south and west. Something, again, we still need to keep in mind, not just the hail risk, but this flooding risk over the next couple of days. Anything to report on this as of right now?
Just
Alexa?
an update to verify what you saw on the hail cam. So we're looking at hail of 1.5 inches, so relative to about ping pong ball sized hail. So that pretty much verified of where we were seeing those darker shades on our radar before. So.
Perfect. Appreciate it, Alexa. If we could throw up our Weather Center cam real quick, we'll just take a look outside. see if we can get anything on that as of right now. It'll take a minute, so just hang with us, please. And again, that still looks like to me it's trying to split. It's either trying to split or the western half of the storm is weakening. It's hard to tell. Over the next 10 to 15 minutes, we'll get a better idea of that. But again, that hail core looks to tighten up a little bit, which could mean that the circulation is coming together a little bit better there. Again, not tornado threat, but the updraft is going to hold that. Yeah, let's go ahead and take Weather Center cam real quick. Taking a look just at Highway 9 in Jenkins, you can see off to the west, a little bit of lightning in there. Perfect timing on that. Good job, production team. Nothing super crazy as of right now. It's not a whole lot of lightning. Lightning will be a possibility as we head into the next couple of hours. But again, really watching this hail and rain threat as well. We'll come back to me on the wall if we could, please. Appreciate it. Go ahead and throw hail detector back up here, please. Okay, so the radar is actually picking up further north, which is interesting. The way radar works is it scans different layers of the atmosphere over 5-minute cycles. So what it could have seen is it moving further north during the scan, but as it went through the reflectivity scan, or the colors that you see with the pinks and greens and reds, it caught it further toward the south. Nothing super crazy as of right now. Definitely some smaller to larger hail, ping pong ball size, as our friends over at the weather desk told us. Go ahead and flip back to reflectivity for me, please. That actually looks like it's starting to bulge. Can you put this in replay real quick and then actually zoom in on that edge, please? Go ahead and flip to velocity for me. I don't think anything's on there, but it'd be interesting to look at. Still nothing on that. Typically when you see a bulge on reflectivity, if we flip back over to it real quick, is sometimes in these bulges, what's happening is the storm is convecting out in front, it's starting to develop, and when it's doing that, it's able to pick up some more areas of vorticity or rotation that can form some spin-ups on that leading edge. Nothing, again, to be concerned about as of right now. More so, I'm worried about this hail risk that is further back toward the west, and then heavy rains again. I don't know, probably don't have anything as of right now as to exact rainfall totals per hour.
No rainfall totals, but talking about rotation, NWS did mention that there is some mid-level rotation, but nothing really too crazy. Like you said, you can't really see anything on velocity, but still keep a monitor of that as the evening goes on. But again, just reiterating that hail threat. That's going to be the biggest thing with these storms.
Thank you, appreciate it, Alexa. Let's actually flip to the Frederick radar real quick and go velocity. So what Alexa is saying with mid-level rotation, of course, to get a tornado, you need rotation at all levels. Okay, so Frederick is still picking up mid-level rotation further down toward the southwest, not an immediate threat to us. But mid-level rotation means that the storm is spinning, but again, it has to go all the way to the ground to be a tornado. So nothing to be concerned about right now. Again, we're going to stay with you as long as we need to cover these storms. But as of right now, nothing crazy to look at. So let's go back to KTLX on the reflectivity, please. Still some pretty good hail in there. Has NWS said anything about issuing this warning further toward the northeast?
Only special weather statement ahead of the Chickasha storm is going to be put out in just a moment.
And what does the special weather statement include? Does it say?
No, it does not.
Okay. So the difference between special weather statement and a severe thunderstorm warning is, for it to be a severe thunderstorm warning, we need at least 1-inch hail or 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Special weather statements is a little bit lower, so most likely 50-mile-per-hour winds and probably half an inch to quarter-inch hail possible with that. So if we could, real quick, could you give the viewers at home an idea of what half an inch to 3/4 of an inch of hail, what is a real-world example of that?
Yeah, half an inch is close to marble. 3/4 of an inch would be right around a penny, so pretty small, not going to be doing too much damage, but still something to keep in mind.
Yeah, if your car is not parked under a covering, I would probably recommend moving it. Nobody wants hail damage on their car. Again, nothing catastrophic as of right now, but nobody wants to have to deal with that, especially with finals weeks coming up. So long I-44 corridor, special weather statement out in front of that line. As of right now, Alexa, what do you have?
The storm is slightly intensifying. They're definitely going to extend that warning into McLean County, which will eventually possibly move into our area here since relatively close. So just be sure to keep that in mind and keep monitoring because that's looking like going to be in the next couple of minutes or so.
Perfect. Thank you, Alexa. Let's go ahead and throw this back into replay real quick, and we'll tell you exactly why they're doing this. So you can see about 15 to 30 minutes ago, all the pinks disappeared, and as it's continued moving west, they have started to pop back up. To me, this looks further out west that the backside is decaying versus it's splitting. So basically, this leading edge, which is heading toward us right now, is kind of taking over the atmosphere. It's dominating the atmosphere, and it's killing off this storm further to the west. Something we'll have to keep our eye on, see if it breaks off and if it the western edge intensifies or not. Actually, so let's go ahead and hop over to hail detector real quick. Okay, yeah, so right on that spot that we've been looking at, still some hail possible. Still no official reports from any EMs or anything like that for hail, like no hail reports out as of right now.
In Chickasha, around dime and nickel-sized hail has been reported.
So the hail is actually falling to the ground as of right now. So if you live in Norman, probably best to put your car under a covering. Don't necessarily need to put it in a parking garage, but having covering over it will definitely help as these storms continue to make their way toward Norman. Let's head back to velocity, actually. We'll take a look at that. Something to keep in mind as these storms start to intensify. Again, you could get some leading edge rotation on that. I don't personally see anything as of right now on that. So tornado threat continues to be looking on a downward trend. Hail threat, flooding still continue to be our main threats. Let's go ahead and flip over to INET if we could get it up real quick. Or our Weather Center cam will take a look off to the south and toward the west. So you have anything going on out there. We'll get that up in just a second. Again, nothing too crazy on it right now. Some lightning going on with it. Nothing too insane as of right now. You can see the lightning off to the southwest. Not super surprising as we have continued to watch these storms over the last little while. Go ahead and flip back over to our map, please. Appreciate it. So in replay, you can see storm continue to move toward the northeast, still at about 30 to 45 miles per hour. I'd say that probably puts it in Norman about 45 minutes from now. With the intensification that we're talking about, we could maybe see the severe thunderstorm warning go up. It's kind of hard to say as of right now. Alexa, you have something on that?
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say that I slightly misspoke before. Issuing a severe, a special weather statement, for that storm is most likely because we see it's going through these different cycles of where it's intensifying and then weakening. And right now we can kind of see that. We haven't seen much hail in the last few minutes or so. And those darker purple colors are kind of transitioning more into those more deeper shades of red and oranges, signifying that there is some weakening within the system. So, I mean, that could change within the next couple of minutes. And like you said, the storm's not going to be here for at least 30 minutes or so. So anything can change, but be prepared for some sort of either weather statement or warning to be issued. So be prepared for when it comes your way.
Thank you, Alexa. And again, as I kind of mentioned earlier, this storm south of Andarco definitely is it looks like it's weakening to me. That's not really trying to split. So further off toward the south, that looks like that threat will end pretty shortly. I'm imagining that the National Weather Service will let this severe warning expire. I'm assuming that expires at 11. There we go, for Cato County. Yeah, so that severe thunderstorm warning, I'm going to imagine, is going to be lifted because this thing has really started to weaken over the last 15 to 20 minutes that we've even just been on air. So kind of hard to say as of right now. Again, still monitoring the situation, but if we could draw the track to Norman, I'd almost put this hail core either straight through Norman or just a little to the north, about 45 miles per hour there. Yeah, so Riverwind Casino right after 11, about 11:11. National Weather Center 11:15. Norman High School and OU 11:15. So that puts it right about 30 minutes. We'll call it 27 minutes if you wish to be exact. So start to prepare. This does not look like it's going to be a major event, but something to definitely keep your eye on as we head into the next 30 minutes or so. We'll go ahead and clear that off the screen for me, please. Thank you. Appreciate it. Definitely still some hail spots popping up there. New scan there. Still that southern edge of it, hail, and then some hail further to the south and east of Amber. Still along the I-44 corridor. So if you know anybody trying to drive down I-44 right now, tell them maybe wait a little bit. Not a severe thunderstorm warning as this continues off, but still some heavy rainfall, some hail possible. So best to be off the roads as much as possible until these storms move off toward the east. Aiden, you have something for us?
Yeah, we just had a viewer question just asking about if hail is still coming into Norman, and like we said, we don't know when that storms are going to get here, but they are tracking towards us, so hail is still possible with all these storms since they still have severe thunderstorm warnings.
And luckily the hail threat for that more southern storm has decreased so far. Now we're looking at 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds, so definitely weakening from what we've seen before. Before it was at about 2-inch hail, and now we've dropped to 1 inch. So I'm sure that's going to continue to drop as the storms begin to weaken.
Appreciate that from both of you. Go ahead and throw this into replay for me one more time real quick. So I'm looking at, so we said earlier that this was intensifying, which I would agree with, but as of now, it looks like it's kind of stagnating, probably evening out, excuse me. Yeah, that stuff further to the south in Caddo County is definitely just going to dissipate out probably in the next 20 to 30 minutes. Still some hail risk with this. Again, we're not going to guarantee hail falling, but as the trend has been throughout the night, probably the hail possibility is definitely going to be there over the next 20 to 30 minutes or so. Go ahead and flip over to velocity for me real quick, please. And then we'll zoom in further toward this storm over I-44. So again, as of right now, I don't see any rotation in here as of now. These lighter greens, over in the northern part, just south of Amber, those are definitely going to be some stronger winds. Below 60 miles per hour, probably 40 to 50 if I had to guess off the top of my head. And then further to the south actually could be a little bit weaker as well. You guys have anything over at the desk?
Yeah, we are seeing 50-mile-per-hour winds with the special weather statement. So
pretty good guess by me then.
Yeah.
So again, not super strong winds, but something to keep in mind. Could see some branches fall off if you had any dead branches in your tree. Those could definitely end up in your yard. Shouldn't tear anything up too horrendously bad as what we kind of predicted going into the day. The atmosphere out here didn't destabilize as some of the models had predicted. But if we zoom out quite a bit, we'll take a look at what happened earlier in the day. We won't throw radar in replay, but way off down toward southwest over actually in the Texas side of it, we saw a much more unstable environment, several tornado warnings. Actually, I believe we saw hail upwards of 3 inches from that storm. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about that 3 inches as of right now for Norman, but just something to keep our eye on over the next 5 to 10 minutes. If we could go ahead and throw INET up again real quick, let's just take a look at these storms off to the south, toward the southwest, nothing, just a little bit of lightning with it. We can't really see a whole lot with it being nighttime, of course, but just something to keep our eye on over the next little while.
Yeah, for sure. Sam, thank you so much. I want to zoom back in on our storm right here. I can see there's starting to be those heavier bands of rain again, and I kind of want to double check if we can push it just to the east a little bit, push it over. It looks like that storm may be re-intensifying just a little bit. We could see those darker hues of purple are back in there. We kind of were just talking about before how we were seeing primarily those darker shades of red going from that pink to the red, so a sign of weakening. But now we're seeing those bits and pieces, maybe since it's a little bit more scattered, like if you could see there's all these different blobs. I don't necessarily think that's hail because hail is usually constrained to one more area, so it's probably just a lot of heavier bits of rain. And I don't know, is this our severe special weather statement over here, or have they not pushed it in yet? Just to double check. I was seeing if that was stronger rain, but I guess up on our hail detector, we can see that there's possibly some medium-sized hail. We haven't gotten any reports so far, but those shades of blue, that's where that medium-sized hail may be. So maybe around that 1-inch hail is something that we are seeing if we want to go away from hail detector and kind of go back and push out just a little bit. Okay, can we just continue to pull out just a little bit more and shift over to the east? Thank you very much. We have an amazing production team back there helping us with our technical difficulties. So it doesn't look like those storms are splitting like we talked about earlier. So these storm systems have kind of just gone through an insanely odd life cycle. We've seen tornado warnings. We've seen baseball-sized hail in some areas. You have to see those pictures. They are nearly like this big in some places, but it's just crazy how a lot of these storms have split. We're having those like left and right moving systems where the storms essentially split. Sam talked about this earlier, where those northern storms will start to push up and then those right movers will start to push east. Those northern storms is where we saw that bigger hail threat. And Aiden has something over at the desk. I'll toss it to her.
Yeah, we're just getting some news from our control room that we've got a live shot ready to go with OU Nightly reporter Michael Buchanan. He's out at the Couch and Walker Towers, so he's going to talk a little bit about some of those storm shelters on campus.
Yeah, guys, I know you mentioned the tornado threat is downtrending with these storms, but you still need to be prepared. Tornadoes could spin up at any time in Oklahoma with these severe thunderstorms. And so behind me, I'm at the Couch Storm Shelter. If you're a student living in one of the on-campus residence halls, you have a storm shelter in your building. You need to be aware where that shelter is, and if you hear sirens, you need to get there. Reporting live at the Couch Storm Shelter, Michael Buchanan, OU Nightly.
Thank you so much, Mike. It's definitely great to keep students aware on campus when there is the chance for severe weather to impact them. And even though we may not be seeing that tornado risk at the moment, do not rule it out, because there is still a chance for things to re-intensify exactly like what we saw earlier. These storms were kind of just forming on their own and then just intensifying and then weakening and then splitting and doing the same process again. So there's definitely a chance for that to happen, even though the likelihood is a little bit less now that we've headed on later in the evening, because a lot of those ingredients aren't really into play. So I'm going to take a look back at here. I think this warning down to the further southwest, that'll probably expire around 11. So 4 minutes or so. Nothing really crazy. Oh, I'm going to toss to Sam. He has an update on that.
Yeah, so kind of similar to what we're seeing with our storm just to our west. We're actually going to, they just issued a special weather statement on that southern side for, I would imagine, 50 mile per hour wind gust and penny-size hail. So.
Okay, thank you for the update, and we'll keep track of the hail on our hail detector in just a little bit, but primarily we're looking at this more northern storm because that's what's really going to impact us, and I'm sure they'll end up putting a warning on this northern portion just a little bit if it continues to intensify. I would like to get a tracker on this because it looks like it's nearing pretty close to us here in Norman. I'm still thinking about 20 minutes or so, but I'd like to see. Okay, all right, let's take a look. Okay, 11:11 OU, so again, that's in about 15-20 minutes, and we'll see Riverwind Casino 11:07 and gradually build, and then finally it'll push out to Lake Thunderbird around 11:24 p.m. and we can take that away. We'll keep tracking that as we get closer in time to it impacting us here, but primarily the things you want to be mindful of with this storm at its current state right now. Flooding, that is going to be a big thing. These storms are moving pretty slow, so they are just continuously dumping rainfall, especially here on campus. You need to be mindful because these roads flood horribly, especially Jenkins, Asp Ave. Be sure you're at home or in your dorm before these storms come into play, because you do not want to be driving on these roads while this system persists, because even though it is weakening, we still have this continuous system moving through. So not only will we be impacted by this, there's a chance we can be impacted by all of this excessive rain as well. And again, we've noticed that it's been weakening as time has gone on. We could see it in our reflectivity. We're more so seeing those yellows and those greens, so definitely less stronger bands of rain, but still there is a chance for it to push northeastward right to those of us here in Norman. So just be mindful of that. And even too, you don't want to be out if it's hailing. Again, a lot of these storms we're seeing penny-sized hail, very small hail, but still, if it's coming down pretty fast and pretty hard, it can still make an impact. So you definitely don't want to be driving out in that or even outside during that time. So if we could zoom in on these storms a little bit more, maybe switch to velocity. I don't think there's going to be anything crazy. Again, those hues of pink, yeah, there's nothing. I mean, there's this little blob, but again, that could be just to faulty radar detection. There's a lot of rain wrapping around these storms, so the chance for that to really be any rotation is pretty minimal for the time being. We can go back to our reflectivity. Have they said anything about putting a warning on this storm? It doesn't look anything crazy. It just looks like a lot of rain for the time being. And we could throw up hail detector just to see if any of those pinkish blobs or more of hail. Okay. So, Sam, you have an update on this. Great.
Oh, yeah, no, I was just going to say, as of right now, we don't really have any new risk coming out for this storm tonight. What they're talking about is our threat going forward. Brendan, do you want to share a little bit of what we're looking at for the next couple of days here in central Oklahoma?
Yeah, sure. So for tomorrow, we're looking at another hail risk. Once again, the Storm Prediction Center has put us in a slight risk for tomorrow. The big threat there is, once again, hail. Tornado threat not really there. We also could see some more storms firing overnight tonight, later 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Now it's kind of uncertain just how big these storms are going to get and how strong they're going to get and what kind of damage they could cause, but they're kind kind of just going to fizzle out overnight, and then we're going to get a new line moving through tomorrow. Once again, Wednesday we are in a bit of a risk as well, only in a marginal as of now. So we're going to keep an eye on that moving ahead into tomorrow and Wednesday, but that's sure going to be something to keep an eye on.
And real quick, just kind of how the night has been. New severe warning coming for this storm we have been watching. It'll be coming into Newcastle and Norman. So, Alexa, let's get back to you on the wall. Once this warning gets released, we'll explain exactly what the warning is entailing. But as we've kind of watched the last couple of hours, this storm is just going to keep on basically cycling throughout the night.
Yeah, exactly, Sam. Can we take it back to the hail detector just for a moment, please? I wanted to explain something. So it may be showing up as there's some medium-sized hail, but also this is just a probability based off reflectivity and some other factors too. But in these regions, we're seeing higher bands of reflectivity, but that doesn't always necessarily mean hail. And like I said, it was a bit more scattered of those higher ranges of reflectivity. So there is a chance that it's just some really hard rainfall that's coming down, and that's why these hues are showing up. But definitely we'll keep you updated if we hear any reports of hail in that area. Let's go back to reflectivity for a moment. Can we zoom out just a little bit? I kind of want to play this through again to see if there's been any changes in these storm systems. Zoom out just a little bit more. I do want to see that southwestern edge of the storm. All right, so it is weakening a lot, especially that back end, but then again near Chickasha, there's been that, again, it looks like there could be a hail core or just stronger bands of rain in that area. And it looks like down to the southern parts, not really a split action we have going on, just a weakening. Sam has an update?
Yeah, so that severe thunderstorm warning that just got issued, 1-inch hail, 60-mile-per-hour winds. Pretty much what we expected over the last couple of days. And then we do also have a viewer question asking what our timeline for tomorrow is. Kind of looks as of right now 2 rounds, one early in the morning through about 7 a.m. So could be a soggy drive to class. And then we have another second round that looks to be honestly quite a bit more aggressive coming in later in the afternoon, about 5 to 6 p.m. And that'll probably continue throughout the night into early Wednesday morning.
And you definitely want to be mindful with this weather tomorrow and even tonight, because although the tornado threat currently remains low, again, still a threat for hail and some strong winds, this rain is going to be a lot more rain than what we've actually seen so far in quite some time here in Oklahoma. Over the next couple of days, we're expecting over 6 inches of rain in some areas. So that's a lot. And especially even here on campus, we see less than 1 inch of rain sometimes, and roads are already flooded. So they may even be flooded now. But you just really need to be mindful of that weather tomorrow, because even though there could be a break in the weather, drains may have some time to decrease the water that accumulates, but there's still a chance for that to accumulate again on top of itself, especially if drainage systems do get clogged. And again, you don't want to be driving on that. So just be mindful as we head into this evening and tomorrow and the next couple of days ahead. Again, we're going to continue to take a look and track these storms. So they removed that warning for that Chickasha cell, excuse me. They might bring it back. I don't think so. It could just be heavier bands of rain. Sam?
NWS is reporting that trailing storm is starting to strengthen. So as of right now, no severe warning. Could see one next 5 to 10 minutes.
All right, so we'll track that more northern storm, and then we'll take a look at that back in a moment and see if it intensifies even further, because now if they're saying that this could be a small hail core, but primarily we're going to focus on this storm that's going to be impacting Norman. So it does look like it's intensified quite a bit. That larger reflectivity band has increased quite a bit since our last few scans before. We were talking about it might have just been some stronger bands of rain, but now we're kind of looking at this may be some hail too. Currently no reports of hail in that area, but I'm sure we will expect to see some in the coming times. Can I get another timeline on when we can expect to impact us here on campus? Alrighty, so nothing has really changed too much. It looks like it got pushed back a little bit. I think before Riverwind was going to be impacted around 11:07, so now it's looking 11:16. So the storm has slowed quite a bit, but again, we're getting reports that it is intensifying, and you can visibly see that on radar. So again, it may start to ramp up and move a little bit faster and impact us a little bit sooner, like what we had thought previously. OU 11:21. So again, we were looking at 11:11, I believe, before. So it got pushed up 10 minutes more. So just be mindful of that. That's in about 15 minutes or so. You still have time to put your car in the shelter, because if there's hail coming your way, you do not want your car to be out, and you absolutely don't want to be out driving in it. So just be mindful of that, and just make sure that you're keeping yourself protected and your belongings as well. So I want to take this away, and actually I want to see some lightning on the Weather Center cam. I saw it flash over there, and I definitely think there's a lot of lightning associated with this storm. So I want to pull that up for viewers to see if we can do that. Okay, not really looking like too much lightning. I was standing over here before. Oh, there we go. Some lightning flashes all from that storm coming towards us, and it's just absolutely illuminating the sky. Oh my goodness, did you just see that strike? Currently no rain in our area here in Norman, but I'm sure we'll start to get some precipitation in a little minute or so. But again, that lightning is pretty big too, so it's definitely coming our way and going to be here relatively soon. So hail detector, again, we're looking at those darker shades of blue, so we were at more of that lighter shade, and if you could look ever so closely, we're seeing darkening just a little bit. I don't know what this is over here. It says small hail. I'm primarily concerned about this right here, but again, no reports of active hail at the moment. Can we switch back to reflectivity, please? Okay, so there is a good chance that there was hail right here. Small hail. We can see those different bits of reflectivity, or again, some of that stronger rainfall. And can we look at velocity on this? This has strengthened quite a bit. Okay, it looks like there's definitely some rotation going on with the storm. Nothing too crazy, but definitely something that we are going to keep monitoring. Again, because a lot of those storms, they did produce tornadoes earlier. We saw some tornado warnings, but I definitely want to keep a monitor on this, because if it does continue to intensify, we want to be sure we're monitoring that, because this could change the absolute threat game for you all. But just to give a quick note, remember, if you hear the tornado sirens, that means there's an active tornado warning, and seek shelter immediately. So what you can do on campus, go to the couch storm shelter, go to the lowest level of the dorms and go in there. Either seek an interior room in your house on the lowest floor. If you're unfortunately out and about driving, I know this sounds crazy, but get out of your car and go in a ditch. Do not go under an overpass. That is the absolute worst place to go. Not trying to scare you. Again, nothing crazy on this velocity, but I really want to keep you all informed in case of an emergency. And if you live in apartments such as the Ave and you're on the second floor and don't really have a lower level to go to, try to go into an interior room. And this may also sound silly, but put a pot on your head. That could protect you in case there is a tornado. But again, that is not our current threat as of now. We're primarily looking at that heavy rainfall and hail, but still, there is a chance for that to change. And again, this reflectivity has increased quite a bit. Yeah, let's zoom in on this storm. Can we play it back just a little bit to see how it's been evolving? And again, we could already see, Norman, we're already starting to get some rain, at the moment, some of those darker bands of rain, but that's not really the bulk of the storm. The bulk of the storm and the strongest is down near Blanchard, so it's still tracking to the northeast, which is us. Sam, you got an update?
I was just going to ask if we could toss over to velocity real quick, pause the video and go back to reflectivity.
Okay, can we zoom back down actually to that?
That rotation just south of Blanchard, something.
Yep, we were just talking about that. And again, I just gave everyone preparations for tornado just in case. This is near Blanchard, so Blanchard's about 20 minutes away from us here, but already that velocity has strengthened. Can we play that back, please? Just to see how it's been evolving. Yeah. Zoom in a little bit more on the velocity. Okay, this is definitely something we're going to keep monitoring because it has strengthened quite a bit. Definitely seeing some rotation in that area. Hasn't been any confirmations of a tornado or rotation from the NWS, but definitely want to keep that in mind. And we'll switch back to reflectivity for the time being, but again, in a few moments or so, we're going to switch back to that velocity to ensure that there is no tornadic formation with that. And maybe let's take a look at some of our hail for the time being, if there's any hail associated with this core. Okay, seeing some of those darker bits, and this is extended all the way quite a bit, and this kind of boundary of where this heavy precipitation is, that's coming into Norman. So I'm assuming that there's going to be some smaller hail associated with that. But again, this is the larger bulk and strongest regions of the storm. But let's switch back to reflectivity, and in a moment we'll go back to velocity. So again, those of you here in Norman, you might be seeing some pea-sized hail, penny-sized hail, pretty small hail at the moment, but definitely a lot of strong rain associated with that. And down in Blanchard, you're definitely seeing some larger sized hail, probably some strong winds, and a lot of rainfall. Let's switch back to velocity on that. I want to see if it's developed at all. Okay, zoom out. Okay, it looks like it's intensified a little bit more, and we're seeing some of those lighter hues of green. Sam?
Sorry, just real quick. We do have a viewer question. What about Moore? As of right now, it looks like this thing might scoot just south of Moore. Also, Scotty Allen, meteorologist Scotty Allen, OU Nightly meteorologist Scotty Allen is live at the parking garage looking at that situation. Scotty, what does it look like outside for us right now?
Yeah, that's right. We've got heavy downpours behind me, lots of lightning strikes, some cloud-to-ground lightning, so definitely want to get indoors as this severe thunderstorm's coming in, and definitely going to be continuing to monitor this. It definitely feels a little bit, feel that humidity, I can feel it. The winds are dying down a little bit. That's really eerie right now. Sam, back to you. What more updates on what's going on out there?
Yeah, appreciate it, Scotty. We recommend you hustle back on over here before these storms fully make their way into over Norman. Brendan, over at the Walleds, what do you got for us on this storm?
Yeah, the storm has also picked up the pace a little bit. It was warned earlier at 35 miles an hour, up to 50 at this point. That rotation still intensifying back here by Blanchard. We are seeing this leading edge start moving into Norman, what Scotty was hearing behind him. So that's going to be interesting. That looks like some pretty heavy rainfall there on the leading edge. But as far as tornado threat, that is kind of back over here. Still, of course, not that high. This is also our biggest hail threat back here closer to this area of rotation. So that's going to be the biggest thing we're going to keep an eye on right now. Unfortunately, even with this first leading edge, we are going to probably see some flooding in the roads. Norman does flood easily. We've kind of figured that out over a while here, but that's going to be interesting. Make sure to get inside. If you get stuck in a ditch, it's going to be a real major issue, especially as soon as that second layer goes through. Now, let's take a look at our Weather Center camera outside right now. You see that lightning. We see that rainfall already hitting the front edge of the camera. Lightning starting to get a lot more frequent as that storm moves in the leading edge there. Hail detector, we are picking up some hail over Norman right as of now. If you go back to that hail detector for a second, yeah, see, there it is. We're picking up a couple hailstones, nothing confirmed yet. This is all on radar as of now, but we are picking that up directly over Norman, especially South Norman. Get some bigger hail just south of campus down by, I believe that's Constitution Street. And also, if you go up to that northern edge over here, real quick. Okay, well, we're seeing bigger hail up across on the west side of I-35, up on Robinson Street, just west of Westheimer Airport. That's going to be moving directly across the airport between Robinson Street and Tecumseh Road over the next 5-10 minutes here. Like I said, these storms have picked up the pace just a little bit. Here's that bigger hail blob down here near Blanchard where we were seeing that rotation. Actually, can we go back to the velocity real quick? Just want to take a peek at how that rotation has amplified, if it has at all. Honestly, it almost looks like it died off a little bit. I'm getting nods over here from my fellows at the weather desk. They've been keeping an eye on this while I've been talking about the other stuff. It has been dying off a little bit. Now, Sam Patterson over here has something they'd like to talk about. Sam?
Yeah, we're just going to, real quick, they extended this tornado warning, or excuse me, severe thunderstorm warning till 11:30, which includes Cleveland, McGrady, and McLean counties. So definitely upticking. Looks like it's going to be here for the next 30-45 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, so these storms that we were looking at that seemed to be dying off like about a half an hour ago are kind of revamping. We've been seeing that on the radar, and now we just have confirmation over here that that is in fact exactly what's happening. So once again, this is our biggest risk for larger hail. Do we know how large the hailstones are down there at this point?
1 inch.
Okay, well, 1 inch, 1 inch. So we're looking at 1 inch hail down here. Over here is significantly smaller, probably in the vicinity of half an inch, if not less. Still could do some damage to cars, more dense, not necessarily broken windshields, but could do some interesting stuff. And especially once this starts passing through, which it looks like it's going to in the next 5 to 10 minutes here, Once again, the rotation of this trailing edge of the storm is kind of dying off a little bit. So the tornado threat is not nearly as high as it looked to be a couple minutes ago, but we are still seeing that hail threat. And Alexa has something for us. Alexa?
Definitely confirming what you're saying. So there's some small hail mixed in with that Blanchard storm at the moment, but primarily that reflectivity on there at the moment is extremely heavy bands of rainfall. So if you're out in Blanchard, definitely pull over on the side of the road or make sure you're indoors because rain is coming down hard. We're getting alerts of that now, but.
Yeah, you do not want to get caught in a flood. Thank you, Alexa. That's definitely a very dire situation. We've seen that over the last couple of weeks with major flooding. And of course, we are going to see that heavy rainfall with these storms. And we have been seeing that heavy rainfall and continue to see that heavy rainfall over the next couple of days. As we went over earlier, the rain is just going to continue. So the major flooding risk over the next couple of days is going to be, it's going to be high. More so than the hail risk, more so than tornado risk. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on. And as that ground gets more saturated, we're going to be seeing just slipperier roads. If you do go in a ditch, it's going to be much harder to get out because the dirt is just so wet. We see this purple still right over here, just very, very strong rain, bit of hail here. Let's go to velocity real quick. I just want to check on the how much that's spinning as of now. Say, wow, okay, the spin's really died off. Tornado threat pretty much gone over here. You see the reds down here and the greens not nearly as tight as they used to be. That was what we were concerned about a couple minutes ago with the rotation there. So that's tornado threat is effectively gone. We still are seeing that hail threat. Strong winds, of course, are a problem, and now those storms are moving faster. That's going to be here relatively soon, but luckily, the faster they move in also means the faster they move out. So if we're not going to see the heavy rain sitting directly over us for as long. Now, can we go back to reflectivity real quick? Thank you. Okay, so all right, so this is moving out. We're kind of in a bit of a clear slot right now, which is nice. This is going to be coming in next, so don't hold out false hope. It's going to keep raining, unfortunately. That heavy rain band still moving kind of directly towards us with these storms moving towards the north and east. So we're going to be looking at that for a while. Now, once again, we're seeing inch diameter hail with those storms down over there. Last run almost looks like it died off a little bit. Sam has something for us right now. Sam, what you got?
Yeah, Brendan, I looked at some of the, using radar products, rainfall rates on this western side, upwards of ½ inch to 1 inch per hour. So definitely some heavy rainfall, and I believe if we can get it up, we have some viewer video of some of the rain and maybe small hail falling in parts of Norman. If we can go ahead and take that video. Never mind, we do not have it as of right now. We'll get that to you in just a minute. Something also to report real quick before we go back to Brendan. Ping pong ball words are hard. Ping pong ball size hail is falling just east of Tabler, so something to keep an eye on. Brendan?
Yeah, but do we have any new information on that storm that was trailing behind?
They just updated the severe thunderstorm warning, so 1.75 inch hail along with winds 60 miles per hour, so increased a little bit more. So
okay, yeah, so yeah, we are seeing the re-strengthening of this storm back over here. That was moving towards Blanchard and Cole. Do we know how fast it's moving at this point? With the warning, do we know what the warning has for its speed?
60. Or sorry, no, that moving speed still 50.
Okay, still 50 miles an hour. Okay, so both these storms have picked up the pace a little bit. Both are kind of moving in the same general direction. So we could see back-to-back instances of heavy rainfall here with both this storm here south of Newcastle moving into Norman and this one down here moving towards Blanchard and Cole. Going to get in Norman. Can we pick up the timeline for when this storm down here is going to move in? It's moving at 50 miles an hour, relatively fast compared to what it was. So let's see. Okay, so Norman, we're looking at 1040, 1045, so it's about half an hour, give or take, a little under. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, that we're going to be keeping an eye on over the next little bit here. Alexa has something for us real quick. Alexa?
So the current hail threat has kind of pushed off to North Norman, but I just received reports from a few minutes ago that people were driving on campus and actually experiencing pea-sized hail the entire drive. So they came from about the avenue in Norman, so that's a little bit west of campus, but their entire drive they did experience that hail. So there may be even some hail on the ground outside at the moment, but again, that's pushed off to North Norman, pushing probably out in eastern, more up into the metro, but currently that's not our threat for now. We're just monitoring that southern storm like you're talking about.
Awesome. All right. Yeah, we do actually have some viewer video of that pea-sized hail, if we could take that right now. So that is falling pretty hard. That's the stuff that we saw earlier. Okay, so this is the stuff that we were seeing earlier that Alexa was talking about, that pea-sized hail falling in Norman. So that we've already seen that happen. Now this this band here is moving in, likely going to be stronger hail than that. So keeping an eye on this, of course, once again, that rotation is pretty much gone. You can also see back when there was rotation with this storm, there was a bit more of a defined hook kind of down here on this end of it. Of course, it was further west at that point, but down on the south and western end of it, we saw a bit of a hook on the radar, which is indicative of rotation, and especially at low levels, which is kind of what we're looking for with the potential for a tornado. We combine that with our view of the velocity radar product, and we can kind of get an idea of where there is spin in the atmosphere at low and mid levels to that. Now, Sam has something for us. What you got?
Yeah, we got a viewer question. How is 12th Avenue? Kind of, as we've been mentioning, as of right now in the clear, looks like another round of heavy rain to small hail heading through, and then maybe even a third round coming behind that as well. So going to be kind of just back and forth of having stuff and then nothing over the next 30, 45 minutes or so.
And definitely don't rule out flooding on those roads. We don't have any confirmed reports of flooding at the moment on those roads, but again, we were seeing nearly an inch of rain within the last 30 minutes or so. So just be sure to be mindful of that, even though there hasn't been any confirmed. Okay, we do have a flood advisory issued right now, but again, that's for primarily almost the entire of Cleveland County and going up into the metro that's been impacted by these storm systems so far. But again, 12th Ave in particular, unsure of its current state, but again, you can infer the worst that there is some sort of flooding on that road.
Yeah, with the sheer amount of rainfall we've seen, we would expect that. Also at areas of lower elevation, so ditches, potholes, the sides of the road where the road kind of bends off to the side, we are likely going to see some standing water there. Not good for your car's engine to intake, and also just not good to get stuck in the stuff on the side of the road. It is never a good sign. And if there are puddles on the road, remember, you can never tell how deep it is. So if you see standing water on the road, it's always best to avoid it. Just completely avoid the risk of getting stuck. Right now, with the rainfall totals we have seen, that is a risk. It's not a super high risk, but with the more rain that's going to move in, we are going to see a lot more standing water on the roads. Always best to avoid that. This storm here, the one on the backside, the one we were looking at, it's crossing I-35 right about now. Going to go kind of, the core of it is going to go right along Highway 9. We are seeing that heavy rainfall here, but the heaviest stuff is going to be just south of campus, right along Highway 9 in the Canadian River. So can we get a hail detector on that? Not really sure how much. Yeah, go back west a little bit. So, okay, we are seeing some hail with this. This is likely our pea-sized hail, not really too much as of now, not going to cause a whole lot of damage, but it is there. So if that starts sounding a little bit louder, that would be why. If it sounds louder than rain, we're seeing a little bit of hail. So if we could back out again, go back to radar, or reflectivity, I should say, and let's check on that storm back to the west. Because we have a pretty good idea where this one is. It's coming in. We're not seeing really any rotation here. Wow, this one's kind of built up a lot over the last couple of minutes here. We've got a large pink area here. That is either very heavy rainfall or some serious hail. Sam has an update on that one. Sam, what you got?
Yeah, I don't currently see an official number on that, but the report is large hail, which I would have to interpret as well that this is larger than the 1 to 1.5 inch that we've been seeing over the last little while. And this storm will probably come close to Norman once again, if not miss just to the south of us. Brendan?
And you can even see it on the hail detector if you want to go and take a look at that. It's already up there. We can see those larger areas of that pink. That's not something we've really seen this evening so far. We kind of saw those lighter shades of blue. Thank you for pulling that up. Sorry, I was just talking, assuming it was up. But again, so those lighter shades of blue we're kind of familiar with, and again, they're scattered to the east as well. We've seen those all throughout this evening, but what we really haven't seen is those darker shades of purple and pink. Pink, that's the highest on our hail detector, so we can automatically presume that they are larger than ping pong, maybe nearing towards that baseball size. Again, there hasn't been a confirmed size of the hail, but again, NWS, they're letting us know that there is some large hail associated with that storm, and if it keeps intensifying, that hail risk is only going to increase as it pushes towards the northeast.
Yeah, thank you, Alexa and Sam. And the criteria for the National Weather Service issuing a severe thunderstorm warning with regards to hail, what we consider severe hail, is upwards of 2 inches. Now, that the severe warning there could be either for wind or hail. Actually, what's the wind on that one right now? Do you know what it's warned for?
I believe it's 60 miles per hour.
60 miles an hour? Okay, so we are seeing severe hail, likely severe hail, more than likely severe wind as well, especially with what we saw on that that hail detector, those brighter shades of pink and red. Those are pushing that 2-inch diameter benchmark there, so that's going to be causing some pretty severe damage here. That storm right now is moving towards Cole at 50 miles an hour, likely going to go just south of Norman if it keeps on its current track, kind of moving here across. Can we get the track pulled up again? It's moving 50 miles an hour kind of towards the north and east. Let's see, let's time this out real quick. Okay, well, so Norman, time frame's moved up a little bit. It looks like it's starting to speed up. We've got 11:42 here around Norman, so 11:40, 11:45. Most likely going to stay just south, or at least the worst of it, but that is also still entirely possible that it will move north. We're just not sure yet. The track that it's been on, and the track that most of these storms have been on, which is what we're going off of, is staying south. The track that these severe thunderstorm warnings are kind of moving, that's also pointing more towards our south, but we are definitely not out of the woods yet. And even to the north of that, if we could get rid of that and just go back to reflectivity. Please, yeah, so we are still seeing plenty of rain up on the north side of that, which will likely come through Norman and add to our flooding as well. Now, our people at the weather desk have something they want to add. What you got, guys?
Yeah, so currently that more southern storm that we're paying attention to, it's kind of moved into that previous warning that was already there. So that warning actually does expire in about 5 minutes or so, but I'm sure that they're going to re-extend that warning and even up the stakes for it as well. Because again, that was for the first storm that we saw here in Norman, where we saw that more of pea-sized hail and those 50, 60 mile per hour winds. And this storm's definitely a little bit more intense than the one that just came through. So just keep an eye on that. We're going to be tracking that, and again, that's going to be pushing up to the northeast, impacting most likely us on campus, with the worst a little bit to our south.
Yeah, we've already got reports of the pea-sized hail on the ground, so with that third round of storms coming in, we could get closer to a quarter, even up to possibly ping-pong ball-sized hail with that intensification just to the south of us.
And with that, they actually just issued the severe thunderstorm warning for even bigger than that, up to golf ball size, so 1 3/4 inches, almost up to 2 inches, 2-inch hail possible with this third round that's about to move over the river.
All right, yeah, appreciate the update, guys. We can see it's still moving down here, moving towards Cole at about 50 miles an hour here. This storm that is over Norman that was producing that hail earlier seems to be dying out. We're not seeing those pinks and those dark reds anymore. We're just seeing more of the normal red, orange, yellow, and green out to the outsides of this, so likely just still heavy rainfall. Now, that's not something to take lightly. This downgrade is still pretty significantly heavy rainfall. So it's really coming down out there. Versus back here, if you compare these two, this is close to what we were seeing as color-wise with this storm earlier, and that was when we were looking at larger hail out to our west. So this one definitely going to create some problems wherever it does cross close to Norman. Going to create some problems for Cole. Looking at it crossing I-35 at about 11:35, 11:40, tracking kind of along Highway 9 out towards Lake Thunderbird here over the next 20 minutes after that. So that's our biggest, there's our newest run. We're still looking at some pretty significant, good looking color palette there as far as those pinks and purples, which unfortunately does mean that that large hail. If we go back to our hail detector real quick, I just want to see if that's gone. Update, yeah, actually it looks like it's gone, or it's not as big as it was. We just heard from the report, 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 or so hail. So it very well may have gotten over 2 inches at one point back there. We'll see if we get any confirmed reports over the next couple minutes here. But let's go to velocity real quick. Just want to see if anything's really happening with that. I kind of doubt it. No, not really. This is where we're seeing our heaviest winds, a little on the north side of where that hail core is. Down here, this isn't necessarily anything spinning. We do see the green and the red next to each other. This is likely more inflow than anything else into the leading edge of that thunderstorm. So not really there, but we are seeing, this is likely where we're seeing these strongest winds kind of just in this general region here. And those are pretty strong. Those brighter greens are where we're seeing that wind velocity moving quicker towards the radar beacon, which is up to the east of Oklahoma City. So this is moving at a pretty quick rate going up that way, which means pretty strong winds. And we go back to reflectivity and see how it's looking here. Yeah, not a whole lot's really changing at this point. I do want to just take a second, go take a peek at the storm almost behind me right now, the one out to the east. If we can move over there real quick out by Bethel Acres here. So this one looks like it's getting pretty interesting. Actually, Alexa has an update for us right now. Alexa, what you got?
Yeah, that storm is intensifying. Great that you just went over to that, because exactly, we just got a report that they're seeing ping pong ball sized hail in that area. So they upped the warning for that 1.5-inch hail. Again, could see a little bit bigger than that, but again, that storm looks like it has been intensifying. And yeah, you could take a look at the hail detector too. Again, we're seeing those darker shades of purples, and maybe even in a few minutes or so, if things do continue to intensify, we may see that larger bit of hail. But again, still seeing some decently sized hail, and no pictures have been sent in yet. If we do get any, we'll definitely be sure to send them your way and show them to you. But again, we're getting reports of those ping pong ball sized hail with that storm.
Wow, that's pretty much perfect timing there. So we are seeing, this is kind of a reapplication to one of the ones that was moving through earlier. So that's pretty interesting. Right now, this is moving towards Tecumseh, Shawnee, Earlsboro at about the same speed as the last one's, 45, 50 miles an hour. Can we zoom in on that real quick? Let's see kind of exactly where it's over. Okay, so yeah, just south of Bethel Acres, moving right towards Tecumseh. Going to stay probably south of Shawnee. We're going to see the pretty heavy rainfall up to the north. Still, also, these are not pockets with no rain over here. These are just mess ups with the radar picture, likely something in the way. So the hail threat here, we just heard ping pong ball sized hail down here. So that's going to be moving into Tecumseh in the next couple of minutes or so. Could we get a track on that real quick? Let's get it timed out. All right, thank you. Okay, so Tecumseh at 11:36. That's 5 minutes from now. Earlsboro at 11:46. So that's in another 10 minutes after that. About 15 minutes there. Likely going to go moving up to the north of Earlsboro there. Now we have. Let's take a look at our Weather Center cam real quick. Let's take a peek at what we're looking outside right now.
Oh, look at that flash. You might have just caught that a few moments ago, but we're gonna, I want to pull back up our radar again, push to that more storm in Blanchard, and Aiden's gonna come on and tell us more about it.
Yep. Looking at that Blanchard storm, if we can pull up reflectivity, it looks like Blanchard's mostly getting a little bit of a break from it, but it's continuing to track a little bit to the northeast. If we can get reflectivity back up for you. But looking at that INET or our Weather Center cam, it looks like it's starting to decrease a little bit on the rain. You can see it here on our reflectivity, just getting into that lighter rainfall, but still raining out there. We are pretty very saturated with the soil and how much rain we got over the past couple of days, over 2 inches of rain here in Norman. So this is a pretty big system still continuing to track throughout the rest of tonight. So definitely keeping in mind the turnaround, don't drown as you're heading out to work tomorrow too, even if you're just seeing some of those flooded roadways, but looking at some of those pinks still to the east of Blanchard, moving in towards that Goolsby area. So definitely going to keep that in mind. We've still got some hail reports, I believe, if we want to pull up that for us. So yeah, definitely still seeing some of those medium-sized hail, probably about an inch in diameter or so. Alexa's got something at the desk for us. What do you got, Alexa?
Yeah, exactly, Aiden. Currently, we've had multiple reports of quarter-sized hail. And again, with these storms intensifying, you can definitely see that increase quite a bit.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And like Brendan was talking about earlier, if we want to zoom back out and see how the storms are looking out east, I know they've moved past us, but yeah, still seeing some of those hails up by Tecumseh and Pink as well. So probably around that quarter-size hail for us. And the good news is that this severe thunderstorm warning is out of the Norman region, and it doesn't look like we've got stuff coming on the back half of this really big system. So out towards OBU, Bethel Acres, we've still got that severe thunderstorm warning pushing probably for the next half hour or so, with the rounds of storms coming back to back. Seeing some pink in there too, so that hail could be even getting above quarter size, could be pushing towards that ping pong ball size hail for us. If we can zoom back towards the Norman area and see what we've got for us in our region. Looks like so that hail could be pushing a little bit towards the northeast, so we could get a little bit of it towards OU campus or South Campus towards Highway 9. But the good news is that threat is mostly out of our region with those storms. If we can get back to reflectivity and see how that's if it's intensifying at all. So a lot more red out towards the west, moving east from Blanchard. So Blanchard looks like we're in the clear. Cole could be getting a little bit of it, but up here we could see up towards north and pushing towards the east. That could be affecting Norman in the next couple minutes or so. If we can get a track just to see how fast this is moving, if we've got any idea on that. Do you guys have any reports from NWS at all?
Not at the moment. Pretty sure it's still moving pretty consistently, about 50 miles per hour, so impacting us probably within the next 10 minutes or so. I know Brennan earlier had mentioned that around 11:45 that storm would be impacting us, so probably in around that same time period. It might have shifted just a little bit by 5 or 10 minutes or so, but currently still on that track.
Awesome. Yeah, we're looking at 5 minutes or so until it's hitting the Lloyd Noble Center OU campus, about 5-10 minutes as well. Pushing a little bit further towards Thunderbird Casino at 11:58. So we've got about 20 minutes till we get to there, but still tracking, continuing towards the northeast is the direction. The good news is, like we've said, the tornado threat has pretty much decreased almost all the way, but we're not going to rule anything out with these storms since we've still got some intensification with the hail threat. But again, the heavy rain is still part of this in those yellows and reds. So keeping that in mind, we don't want anyone out driving at this time just with those hail reports, and we can take off that time threat for us. But we're just going to continue to track this for you. Again, like I said, we've got some heavy rain from the last couple of days. And as we go into tomorrow, we're also looking at a severe weather threat. Could be isolated and scattered into the afternoon and then later in the evening as well. But getting a better look. Okay, so Riverwind Casino seeing some of that heavy rain, but we've got some more pushing from the west. So that's going to be continuing to track east and hitting most of us. Good news is OU campus is on the north end of this. So we're not going to be getting hopefully too much of this strong tornado, or not tornado, excuse me, hail threat or that heavy rain, hopefully giving us some relief from the rain. We mostly are sitting in that green right now, so some lighter rain falling for us. Otherwise, do we have any reports from like actual hail reports that people have turned in for us, or is it just NWS telling us how big it is?
Just NWS at the moment.
Sounds good. Also, looking at some of those stronger rain falling in those isolated regions to the east. So good news again, OU is in that mostly of a relief region right now. I should say, can we zoom out and get a more of a state view just to see how this is looking as we go into the rest of the overnight hours? So still got that flood warning out to the east, or is that just a watch right now for us?
Be the warning.
Warning, okay,
Yeah.
Sounds good. And if we could zoom out even just a little bit more, I just want to get like a full state view. So we've still got a few isolated showers out east and down towards McAllister as well. So Going to be seeing some more rain throughout the region, but the good news is this is pretty much the only severe threat with those severe thunderstorm warnings still in place. As long as anything's not being extended, I believe that one right there that was towards the pink region should be ending roughly in 20 minutes or so, if that sounds about right. Looking at that, yep, 12 a.m. expires. So Potawatomi County is mostly seeing that. So that's pretty much a very isolated cell, but continuing to track that out. Could still be seeing some of those hail reports come in, quarter size, pushing towards ping pong ball size hail, and then zooming back in on Norman. Let's see how that's looking, if it's moved any faster. Do we know how fast that storm is moving, or 55 miles per hour? 50 miles per hour. Okay, sounds good. So moving hopefully a little bit faster out of the region. A lot of those storms were kind of just sitting in place throughout this afternoon as we were tracking them, waiting for them to reach the OU campus and getting into us. Is this a little bit of a split that we've got down here towards Washington, or is that a new development? A split? Okay.
No, development.
Okay, development. Okay. So we'll definitely keep our eye on that one. I'm not expecting it to develop too much. Also hearing some thunder outside of Gaylord College right now on OU campus. So we've still got some storms moving through. Definitely want to keep our eyes on them. Seeing those storms, they are moving a little bit faster than they were earlier today. So hopefully seeing those get out of our neck of the woods in the next 30 minutes or so, hopefully, and then getting a very much decrease in the severe weather threat as we go into tomorrow, but still seeing a slight risk from the Storm Prediction Center. So we're going to keep our eyes on tomorrow and track that out for you as well. I believe, is that storm for tomorrow? Or are we just looking at hail and wind threat?
With a small tornado threat.
Okay, tornado's still pretty low, so that is some good news for us. But again, it's Oklahoma and we can't rule it out. Just like the storm we had today for us. When is the Norman severe thunderstorm warning supposed to be expiring?
Midnight. Should be midnight as well.
Midnight, okay,
Yep.
sounds good.
20 minutes or so.
Perfect. Okay, well, we're just gonna keep our eyes on this one, I guess. Can we take off that monitor? Yeah. Can we pull up iNet really quick and see what it's looking like out on our Weather Center cam at Highway 9? If we're getting any more heavy rainfall coming in, since that red region with that heavier rain is coming in at all. If we can pull up iNet. All right, so yeah, lots of lightning pulling up right there, and that rain is definitely picking up on the Weather Center cam. A few people out there driving. I hope they're not running into too many puddles, but lots of lightning flashes right there. So thundering and stormy out there for us. Not seeing if we can tell any hail on that camera for us, but still lots of stormy weather moving through. Seeing again a lot more of this red. The good news is most of that pink is to the south of Highway 9. Seeing a few spots closer to campus for us near between probably Boyd and Lindsay Street, but gonna keep our eyes on this. You're not gonna want to be out driving. I would say the hail threat is still possible, but if you haven't moved your car to a garage yet, it's almost too late, I would say. But we're definitely gonna be watching this for the next 20 minutes or so before that severe thunderstorm warning moves out and is expired for us. And it doesn't, not too sure. It looks like Sam's got something for us.
Go ahead and flip to velocity on that real quick. And look just south of Highway 9 on it.
Okay. Yep, by Goldsby.
So yeah, this is something pretty typical we see. Usually our isolated supercell events that take place, we'll have these storms from the south. If we can actually flip back over to radar real quick. They'll have those storms come up from the south and basically reinforce them. And if you look just to the, I believe that's Noble down there. My eyes are bad. Down to the south, just west of Noble. Could be some rotation down there. Nothing too concerning as of right now, but something to keep an eye on. Should skirt Norman to the south and to the east, but Aiden?
Yep, thanks so much, Sam. Yeah, definitely. If you are near Noble or Goldsby area, definitely want to be tracking that velocity if we can pull it back up for you. And then get a look at how it's turning out on reflectivity. Yeah, down here where we saw a little bit of that rotation, seeing some of the pink too, just to the south of Noble. So if you are in that area, if we could zoom in just a little bit to get a few more towns to pull up for if anyone's down in that region. What are we looking at? Towards 280th Street or so. Pushing east just to the south of Noble is where some of those pinks are showing up. So hail probably with where we were seeing just maybe a little bit of rotation possible from that development to the south of this Norman storm up to the north. And looking like maybe if we could push to the south just a little bit to see if that's developing any more Yes, so getting a little bit more from that Washington area that I saw, getting a lot bigger than it was before and tracking to the east. So Slaughterville could be impacted by this. Up towards the north, Oklahoma City probably not getting too much other than some rain, so good for them, but Norman still sitting in some of those more red regions. Alexa's got something at the desk for us to share. What do you got?
Yeah, just briefly. So we've gotten some reports that there's been ping pong ball sized hail, or quarter sized hail in those regions near Noble where we saw that higher reflectivity. So definitely that's what we're picking up on our radar over here.
Okay, awesome.
And that flooding risk that we've kind of talked about the last couple of days and heading forward, we have had some reports of flooding on Highway 9 and some cars stranded even. So if you can avoid being out as much as possible, do it. It is going to be dangerous. Definitely stay home if you can. Not a whole lot you should be doing out at midnight, probably on a Monday night, but definitely avoid driving as much as possible. You can look at iNet. Tons of rain falling down on that.
Yeah, do we have anything on that rainfall rate? Has it changed at all in some of those?
No, it's probably still up around about an inch per hour.
Okay, sounds
based
good.
on radar measurements. So
Gotcha. Okay.
I guess I will say from the Oklahoma Mesonet here in Norman, already picked up a quarter inch of rain in Norman just over the last hour.
Okay, wow.
And yes, just to add, Norman, to southeast Norman, Cleveland, Oklahoma, or Cleveland County, Oklahoma, River Creek overflowing, Cropland Yard basement flooding. So again,
Okay.
we're definitely seeing that rain accumulate quite a bit, and
Yeah.
it's impacting some people's homes and nearby streets to those rivers.
Yeah, if you are definitely in a home that's maybe a lower profile and doesn't have too much lift off the ground, or if you're just on some flat level area, you're definitely going to be impacted by some of this flooding because it accumulates so fast, the rain on the ground, with that heavy rain rate, like Sam said, about an inch per hour is what it sounded like. So as these storms continue to track out, well, they're not moving too fast, but they are still working through it. They're just kind of back building just a little bit, and we've had some more developments to the south. So it looks like the good news, Norman is getting out of this red region of that heavy rain, and hopefully that hail threat should be over, but we've still got quite a bit of ways of that rain still falling for us. So continuing to track that out. Again, that threat is mostly to the east and northeast of Noble, tracking towards Denver, probably Lake Thunder, but you're getting a little bit more of those stronger storms right now. So that is the good news for students on campus. You should be in the all clear for tornado threat as of now, as well as probably some of that hail if you want to get your car out of a garage. But I would definitely wait till this rain is over and just in general, because you're not going to want to be out driving. Turn around, don't drown, like we've said, the Highway 9 flooding a little bit. So definitely keep that in mind. And if anyone's got any pictures that they've seen of some of the hail landing in the region, definitely send them our way and we can get them up, and we'll definitely report them for you. But as this tracks out, we're definitely looking at some of that back building, like I said, towards Riverwind and Goolsby, still getting some of that heavier rainfall. But if we can get a wider view, can we zoom out a little bit and just see how everything is going? So yeah, a little bit more development to the east of Washington, so that we had that one cell right there, but getting a little bit more to the south of Slaughterville. And this also towards Lake Thunderbird, developing a little bit more. It was by Pink. Can we zoom out just a little bit more on our radar just to see how it was, because it was towards Pink. I don't know if that, okay, so that storm moved a little bit faster. It's now towards the Shawnee-Tecumseh region, but still seeing some of that pink on the radar right now. So that storm's moving a little bit faster. Do we know if that storm's getting extended for a severe thunderstorm warning at all, since that's still on radar as it's kind of moving out of the severe thunderstorm polygon warning?
There hasn't been any updates at the moment, but it wouldn't surprise me. It still looks like it's pretty intense, so it wouldn't surprise me if they do extend that warning just a little bit more.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. And we've still got that pink storm. We're just to the west of Pink, so it's another round moving towards that region, and Tecumseh probably going to get impacted by that as well. And got, again, once a little bit of an outflow from the Washington into Slaughterville. It's kind of merging into one cell together, but the pink, again, the hail threat, I should say, is totally out of Norman to the east of Noble already. If we can zoom in a little bit more on some of the metro area for us. And I'm assuming that we've got about 10 minutes for that severe thunderstorm warning here in Norman to be expiring. So that is some good news for us. Yep, 12 o'clock. So we'll keep that in mind. McLean County and also Cleveland County included in a little bit of that, mostly tracking to the south. And yep, that other one for Cleveland County. Yep, until midnight. So just some heavier rain is what we've got to keep our eyes on and wait it out pretty much. So be sure to keep this in mind as you're heading out your door tomorrow, because roads, I'm sure, are still going to be flooded. It took a long time for that flooding to go down in Norman after the weekend event that we had. So just multiple rounds of storms moving through takes a long time for that water to go down. And it's going to be impacting most of the region. Like I said, 2 inches of rain or more in most of the metro from the weekend event. So now seeing over an inch in some areas, that's going to be leading to a lot. And like we've said, with the storms coming in the next couple of days, we could see almost 6 inches in some areas with how much storms we're expecting this week. We're in a slight risk for tomorrow. That's level 2 out of 5 on that Storm Prediction Center scale. And then I believe a marginal risk coming in the next couple of days as well. And it's kind of been a severe weather event the last few days with storms in the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, and then tomorrow I know there's some storms expected in the Northeast. And so we're going to be seeing some of that too. Lots of energy in the air, instability, so we could see some more storms developing. But as of now, this is looking to be pretty cleared up. Do we have any reporters outside who have added anything? We do not. Okay. So we're just going to be waiting this out. Does anyone have anything to add at the desk about it?
Nope, as of right now, pretty much the same story we've been telling. Mesonet still reports quarter-inch of rain approximately over the last day or two.
Okay.
Or sorry, last hour or two rather, not day or two.
Yep. Sounds good. Okay.
And again, those storms should be pushed out of our area within the next maybe 15, 20 minutes or so. We're primarily just seeing some of that heavier rain, but again, we're moving into those green areas of rain. And again, let's pop up on our reflectivity radar so we could see. Again, just a little bit of a closer look. Norman OU campus is currently sitting still in that red band of rain, but again, it's being pushed to the east, and within the next couple of minutes or so, we'll see that rain start to die down. So if you're at your shelter, you can definitely start to head out within the next couple of minutes. So we're going to throw it back to our iNet Weather Center cam, take a look at just some of the lightning and rain. Again, lightning's still pretty bad outside, but again, it looks like the rain is primarily calmed down for those of us here on campus. But again, there's still lightning, some thunder out there, but that's all for now.
Awesome. Thank you, Alexa. Yeah, so if I'm going to zoom out a little bit right now, you can see still some heavier rain on the western side of Norman, eastern side of Norman, making its way on out. I'm going to head over here. If we can actually zoom out even more over toward the Tecumseh storm, you can see pretty strong hail up there just south of I-40 to the east of Shawnee. Pretty much kind of similar to what we saw with our cell a little bit ago. Southern cell popped up, tried to reinforce it a little bit as of right now. Actually, can we pull velocity on that right now? Yeah, okay, so not rotation, but something to keep an eye on right now. Again, tornado threat, pretty much minimal as we head into the overnight hours. So go ahead and flip back to reflectivity real quick. We'll zoom back in on Norman for just a second. Keep an eye on those storms. Again, severe threat will expire in the next 10 minutes or so. Probably won't be canceled beforehand. But the National Weather Service in Norman will let those expire. Let's go ahead and take a street level view of Norman, please, real quick. And actually, hold on, I guess we'll flip to velocity as well right after this. Yeah, so if we could zoom in a little more, my eyesight's pretty bad, guys. Still some heavier rain west side of Norman, eastern side of Norman, outside of really the main OU campus and stuff like that. So good news for Norman. Rain starting to go away, as I mentioned, already a quarter inch of rain from this. We'll go ahead and zoom out a little bit as of right now. And then let's flip over to velocity real quick. And then I want to look on the southern side of this storm. So as these storms make their way off towards the east, you can see some red start to pop up. Now, typically that tells us that there are tornadoes possibly developing, but in this case, since the major storm is moving off to the east, air is replacing it down further toward the west, so that's why you see these reds starting to move away. Just the air trying to balance, the atmosphere trying to balance itself out. Aiden, what do you got for us?
Yeah, we're just getting some reports from some of our meteorologists behind the scenes, and they've been telling us northeastern Cleveland County, Potawatomi, Seminole, getting some 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and some golf ball size hail. So that storm could be getting a little bit stronger as it's moving to the east. So Norman not impacted by this, but just something to keep in mind as they're continuing to track out.
Yeah, definitely. If you know anybody who lives east of Norman, let them know some strong thunderstorms still heading this way. Let's zoom out and go state view real quick, please. All right, something I want to keep an eye on, if we can actually flip over to the Frederick radar real quick. another radar site down in southwest Oklahoma. You can't actually see it on here. I think the storms are even further toward the south and west into Texas, actually. But this is our next area of development we will watch over the next couple of hours. Actually, you can see them way down by Lubbock, but these storms will be the next storms that make their way into central Oklahoma early tomorrow morning. Severe threat's pretty low, but something to keep our eye on. And then, of course, tomorrow afternoon, starting about 4 p.m., our severe threat ramps back up. We'll be sure to stick with you, take you through everything we need to know. You need to know as we head throughout the next couple of days. And again, flooding going to be a big factor. Quarter inch of rain in the last hour. That's going to continue over the next couple of days with possibly even more rain coming, higher rainfall rates than what we saw today. We'll go ahead and We'll go ahead and head back to central Oklahoma over Norman as of right now. Norman's threat is ending as of right now. So again, still about 7 minutes on the severe warning. These storms will make their way out of the warning area, out of Norman, and that'll be our clear for the next couple of hours. So get some good rest, get rested well. More storms on the way tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for everybody behind the scenes that makes this possible. Again, just some heavy rain here in Norman as of right now. Any last reports we want to throw out there before we head off for the night?
Currently, no more reports. Again, reiterating, there was some flooding seen in South Norman, but again, not really specific locations of that, but definitely this is going to ramp up tomorrow in the next couple of days. So just be sure to be mindful of that and expect flooding. So
awesome. Thank you, Alexa. And again, if you know anybody who lives east of Norman, south of Pragues, north of Seminole, through Tecumseh, Shawnee, to the north and east of Slaughterville, Noble, east of Norman, let them know severe weather is on the way. 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, some large hail possible. But again, thank you for joining us tonight. Stay safe, stay weather aware. We'll be with you tomorrow afternoon for as long as we need to be covering some more severe weather, and the same thing for Wednesday as well. Enjoy your evening, get some rest. We'll see you back here tomorrow.